Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good evening, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Together with the Presidential Communications Office, we bring you the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news coverage from the People's Television, IBC, Philippine News Agency, Philippine Information Agency, and Presidential Broadcast Service. I'm Princess Abiba Saripaudak from Radyo Pilipinas. Welcome to Balitang Pambansa. Tonight's headlines. Non-resident foreign tourists can now avail of a VAT refund for their purchases of Filipino products like souvenirs. Many of the administration's senatorial bets are leading in a survey conducted by the Social Weather Stations or SWS on voter preference. The prosecution camp in the International Criminal Court or ICC case against the former president has started disclosing the first set of evidence to the defense. The Commission on Elections or Comelec eyes to place Dato Udin Sinsuat under its control following a shooting incident. On top of our news, tourist arrivals to the country last year reached 14.7 million, 54% more than the 8+ million who did in 2019. Yet, more visited Vietnam in 2024 with 17.6 million arrivals, or Malaysia with 25 million, and Thailand with over 35.5 million. The Philippines may have stunning beaches, top-notch hospitality, and far more and better English speakers, but Vietnam, Malaysia, and Thailand offer tourists more bang for their buck. So government conceives a tax break or credit scheme via its VAT rebate program that is sure to bring in more visitors, as our Floyd Brenz reports.
The beautiful beaches of the Philippines and the friendly nature of Filipinos left a lasting impression on Larson and Clemens, a married couple from France.
Well, the beaches were very nice. We really appreciated the Filipino people. They seemed to be very sociable, very smiley, very nice people in general.
As March comes to a close, the couple is preparing to live with unforgettable memories and a few souvenirs they plan to buy in the country. Good news for foreign visitors. Malacanang has announced that international tourists can now apply for a VAT refund or tax rebate for purchases made in the country. According to the VAT Refund for Non-Residents Tourists Act signed into law by President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr., foreign tourists can claim a 12% value-added tax refund on local purchases. This applies to locally purchased items including clothing, electronic, jewelry, accessories, souvenirs, food, and more, totaling up to 3,000 pesos per transaction. The VAT refund is equivalent to 360 pesos, which will be refunded via cash or an electronic platform.
We're going to go to the mall tomorrow, and we saw that the prices are, a lot less expensive than in countries such as France. I think it's a very good initiative. Anything that can help gross domestic consumption in each country is very good.
The Marcos administration aims to encourage more tourists to visit the country.
May mga ibang bansa na po na ito din po ang kanilang ginagawa para makapang-akit ng mga turista. So ito po ay isang paraan lamang po para mas marami pong turista ang pumunta sa ating bansa, at ito din po ay makakapag-inganya rin po na bumili ng mga produkto dito sa ating bansa.
The Department of Tourism projects the country's economic output from tourist spending will grow to 228 billion pesos, far surpassing the 4 billion pesos in VAT refunds from the government plans to issue. Beyond boosting the economy, the program is expected to support local producers, resulting in more job opportunities. This initiative is not unique to the Philippines. Similar programs are also in place in Europe, Canada, Japan, and Australia. The Marcos administration has ensured a robust VAT refund system.
Dapat yung mga accredited na mga tindahan lamang po ang mag-i-issue ng mga resibo para po hindi po tayo maloko ng mga nagpapanggap ng mga turista, nagpapanggap na mga bumili ng mga produkto mula sa Pilipinas.
VAT refunds can be processed at accredited stores and VAT refund operators. Tourists will need to present a passport and receipt, and the purchased products must be taken out of the Philippines within 60 days of the purchase. From PTV Manila, Floyd Brenz, Balitang Pambansa.
following reports of a planned zero remittance week protest by some overseas Filipino workers or OFWs groups in response to the arrest of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, who faces charges of crimes against humanity. The government has reaffirmed its commitment to supporting OFWs. The palace reiterated that the government is acting in accordance with the law and expressed confidence that OFWs would assess the situation fairly. The palace further noted that a majority of OFWs are unlikely to participate in the protest, citing the potential impact on their families in the Philippines who depend on remittances for their daily needs.
Ang gobyerno po ay tumutulong sa OFWs, hindi po kinakalaban ang OFWs. Sabi nga po natin, hindi po natin sisikilin kung ano man ang maging kagustuhan ng mga OFW kung sila magpapahatid ng kanilang remittance o hindi. Huwag lamang po silang lalabag sa batas. Yun lamang po.
The Marcos administration successfully held job fairs in Dasmariñas, Cavite, and Biñan, Laguna. According to Malacanang, over 100 individuals were hired on the spot during the event, which focused on job opportunities and health services in these areas. There are currently 8,000 job vacancies available. The chief executive previously stated that the government's goal is to help Filipinos find jobs that match their skills. The initiative aims to provide decent livelihoods for the people and improve the lives of their families. On the other hand, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Undersecretary Claire Castro criticized Vice President Sara Duterte for often being abroad instead of fulfilling her duties, questioning her commitment as a high-ranking government official. Meanwhile, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. has maintained a high trust rating, focusing on initiatives like job fairs, medical services, and important national projects. On the other hand, Castro also highlighted the importance of Vice President Duterte being present and engaged in her role.
Mas na inuuna pang magpunta sa abroad, magsilbi sa isang tao, although tatay niya po yun, pero marami pa rin pong Pilipino na umaasa sa kanya bilang vice-presidente. Mahirapan po tayo magkaroon ng Pangulo kung lagi po nasa abroad at hindi po ginagawa ang trabaho dito sa Pilipinas.
The administration backed senatorial candidates under the Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas coalition remain among the top contenders for the 2025 senatorial race, according to the latest pre-election survey by Social Weather Stations or SWS. Meanwhile, the Alianza has postponed its scheduled rallies to make way for local campaign events. PTV's Melalis Moras has the report.
Several candidates of the administration-backed Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas remain among the top contenders for the senatorial race based on the latest pre-election survey by the Social Weather Stations commissioned by Strat-Based Group. Among them, Congressman Erwin Tulfo, former Senator Tito Soto, Senator Lito Lapid, Senator Bong Revilla, and Senator Pia Cayetano. Also in the mix, former Senator Panfilo Lacson, Mayor Abby Binay, former Senator Manny Pacquiao, and Congresswoman Camille Villar. One of the front-runners, Congressman Tulfo, is deeply grateful for the continued support of the public, but remains focused on his work and continues to campaign across the country.
Everybody's excited, hindi lang mga kandidato, pati mga botante. Siyempre, this is their time to choose their leader. Once every 3 years, they have the power to select people na whom they want to lead them.
Other Alianza candidates also continue to visit different places to share their platforms. Senator Revilla, for instance, traveled to Muñoz City and Rizal, Nueva Ecija. He also participated in a proclamation rally in Dasmariñas City, Cavite. Meanwhile, together with other government officials, former Senator Pacquiao met with officials of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARM, where he assured his continued support for the region. In an interview, Senator Tolentino advocated for the establishment of human settlements on the islands in the West Philippine Sea to further strengthen the country's territorial claims. Next month, the Alianza para sa Bagong Pilipinas is expected to resume its campaign rallies after postponing its scheduled activities this week to make way for local campaign rallies. From PTV, Melalis Moras, Balitang Pambansa.
Former President Rodrigo Duterte's criminal case with the ICC is in the disclosure phase of pre-trial proceedings where the prosecution furnishes the defense with all its evidence and witnesses for the trial. So Duterte's legal team can prepare accordingly and are assured of no surprises once litigation kicks off. Today's development in the ICC is proof of Duterte's trial on track and moving forward, as our Hardy Valbuena narrates in this report.
A total of 181 items of evidence was disclosed by the International Criminal Court's Office of the Prosecutor to the camp of former President Rodrigo Duterte. This is in line with his crimes against humanity charges. A new document released in the ICC website states that the first set of evidence to be presented by the prosecution to the defense camp of Duterte was signed by ICC prosecutor Karim Khan. Though labeled as confidential, the prosecution says the items of evidence comprise the materials cited in the arrest warrant of Duterte. International law expert attorney Tony Lavinia explains this is just a part of the due process of the ICC and Duterte's camp will be afforded the chance to comment or answer. He also says the prosecution might add more witnesses before the finalization of all evidence and the confirmation of charges hearing of Duterte on September 23, 2025.
Fairness yan. It's a basic due process, di ba, na you will tell the person charged, we're charging you and this is the evidence against you. Pwede rin sabihin ng prosecutor na we are continuing to investigate. So ibig sabihin, meron pang ibang witnesses na darating later on.
43 killings in war on drugs were cited and attributed to Duterte's alleged crimes in his ICC case. This includes the 19 deaths allegedly perpetrated by the so-called Davao Death Squad during Duterte's time as Davao City Mayor and 24 killings in police operations during his presidency. Moreover, the ICC pre-trial chamber also ordered Duterte's camp to submit their observations on the confirmation proceedings. They have until April 11, 2025 to comply. From PTV, Hardy Valbuena for Balitang Pambansa.
On the other hand, Senate President Francis Cheesy Escudero asserted that the arrest of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte did not compromise the sovereignty of the Philippines. The Senate President stated that it was fellow Filipinos themselves who filed the case against Duterte before the ICC. The Senate leader also pointed out that under Philippine law, individuals accused of crimes against humanity can be brought before an international court, particularly if no legal proceedings are taking place in the country. Commission on Elections, our Comelec Chair, Attorney George Erwin Garcia, initially opposed placing Maguindanao del Sur and Maguindanao del Norte under Comelec control, but changed his stance after the shooting of election officer Attorney Maceda Abo and his wife. The Comelec plans to implement control in Dato Udin Sinsuat due to ongoing violence in the area. The poll body will coordinate with the Armed Forces of the Philippines, or AFP, and Philippine National Police, or PNP, and once under its control, Comelec will oversee the area's governance and issue policies. Incumbent Marikina City Mayor Marcy Teodoro remains a candidate as representative of the city. This was confirmed by the Commission on Elections, or Comelec, today after the Office of the Ombudsman suspended Teodoro for 6 months due to the alleged misuse of PhilHealth Fund. According to the Comelec chief, Attorney George Erwin Garcia, Teodoro's name will remain in the ballots and he is still allowed to campaign. Meanwhile, earlier today, Romel Acuña has officially took his oath as the newly appointed acting mayor, while his twin brother, Ronel Acuña, will assure the role of acting vice mayor. The House Prosecution Panel is committed to wait for the formal answer of the Senate regarding their filed motion for issuance of the writ of summons to Vice President Sara Duterte. The lawmakers believes that they are just doing their responsibilities. Beside the Senate, the prosecution team also gave some copy of their motion in the office of the Vice President. National Security Council Assistant Director General Jonathan Malaya stated that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. will not dismantle the National Task Force to End Local Communist Armed Conflict, or the NTF-LCAC. This is in response to Gabriela Party List Representative Arlene Brosas' call to abolish the NTF-LCAC. Malaya added that the president ordered them to continue what they started in fighting terrorism in the country. He also highlighted the decreasing of number of leftist groups, as some leaders of Communist Party of the Philippines, New People's Army, or the CPP-NPA have died. Currently, here are only more than 1,000 members of leftist groups, and one guerrilla front remains in the country. Experts empowered citizens to fight disinformation and misinformation through a media and information literacy forum that was organized by the Philippine Press Institute and the Hans Seidel Foundation, held at Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan. Gabriel Andres of the Philippine Information Agency Region 10 tells us more.
We can all be fact checkers, given the right tools and the right frame of mind in facing information. These were the words of journalist and Professor Joyce P. Pañares during a recently held media and information literacy forum organized by the Philippine Press Institute and the Hans Seidel Foundation at Xavier University, Ateneo de Cagayan. According to Pañares, managing editor of the Manila Standard and professor at the University of the Philippines Department of Journalism, fact-checking is not limited to professionals, as ordinary citizens are also now empowered to identify and challenge fake or misleading online content. Pañares said one must understand the distinctions between misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation, collectively known as information disorders in fact-checking. To combat these information disorders, Pañares advised the public to verify the author, date, and source of information, and compare it with other reliable content. She also cautioned against content with emotionally charged language.
Pansin nyo na parang emotionally nag-respond kayo, either masyado kayong natuwa or nagalit dun sa headline, that should actually be a red flag for you. You have to pause a little and then check, tama ba tong headline at nakatugma ba yung story doon sa headline na yon.
Pañares shared free fact-checking tools such as iCanLookup, accessible at www.lookup.ican.org to verify website legitimacy, and Google search engine with search operators for more focused results. Photos can also be fact-checked using Google's reverse image search and metadata analysis tools like Metadata to Go. The two-day media and information literacy program also covered artificial intelligence, cybersecurity, visual storytelling, and voter education. From the Philippine Information Agency Region 10, Gabriel Andres for Balitang Pambansa.
Beneficiaries of trabaho at serbisyong pangkalusugan in Laguna expressed their gratitude to the government, most especially to President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. for bringing essential services down to the grassroots level. Main Odong from Philippine Information Agency Calabarzon has more.
Jennifer Sogi is a former overseas Filipino worker who returned to the country to take care of her children. She is among the thousands of Lagunenses who participated in the Trabaho at Serbisyong Pangkalusugan initiative of the government and was eventually hired on the spot.
Malaking tulong po yung programa po ng pamahalaan na ganito, lalo na po sa mga kagaya po namin na wala pong trabaho. And katulad din po na OFW na umuwi dito, wala pong trabaho.
This initiative is a new program of the administration of President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. to bring essential government services to the grassroots level, including access to financial assistance, job opportunities, free checkups, and medications to the people of Laguna. A beneficiary even had a close-up encounter with the president where she expressed her gratitude for the services she received.
Ay maganda po ang tulong na yan, gawa ng may sakit po ako. Ang bukol ko dito, palaki. Yun ang binibili ko ng gamot. Ay napakaganda po. Maraming tulong
yan. Kaya ako masaya na umiiyak dahil pambili ko po ng gamot ko.
Through this initiative, the administration shows its commitment in providing job opportunities and expanding access to health services across the country. From PIA Calabarzon, Main Odong, Balitang Pambansa.
Only one armed group remains in Cagayan Valley. This shows a major decline in the new People's Army in the region. Despite this, National Intelligence Coordinating Agency Region 2 Deputy Director Remus Rabara said that their authorities were still strengthening information campaigns to expose rebel recruitment tactics in rural areas and universities. Mary Joy Javier from Philippine Information Agency Region 2 has the details.
The Philippine Army and the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency confirmed a major decline in the new People's Army in Cagayan Valley with only one remaining armed group in the region. Based on the surveillance and intelligence reports, 502nd Brigade Commander Eugene M. Mata said only one armed group remains in the region, consisting of 8 guerrilla members from the Comiteng Rehiyon, Cagayan Valley. Mata says the last 8-member rebel unit operates in the Sierra Madre mountain range near Isabella's coastal areas.
Ang binabantayan na lang po natin ay masustain yung ating effort na lalo na dito sa white area, sa urban areas, dahil ang white area yung source nila ng mga miyembro ng resources, ay mabantayan po natin na hindi na sila makapag-generate ng resources.
Meanwhile, NICA Region 2 Deputy Director Remus Rabara warns that despite the rebels' weakened force, recruitment efforts by non-armed members continue, urging vigilance from authorities and the public.
Sinusustain po natin yung ating pagkandak ng mga call to action activities, lalong-lalo na po sa mga universities. Kasi doon po yung na-identify natin previously kung saan sila nagre-recruit.
Rabara also added that authorities are strengthening information campaigns to expose rebel recruitment tactics in rural areas and universities. From Philippine Information Agency Region 2, Mary Joy Javier, Balitang Pambansa.
Balitang Pambansa will be back after this short break.
The search is on for the 2025 Outstanding Government Workers. Kung ikaw ay isang head of agency, HR management officer, o concerned citizen, maaaring ipadala ang inyong nomination form sa pinakamalapit na CSC Regional o Field Offices. Ang deadline for submission of nominations ay sa March 31. Bukas din sa publiko ang pagbibigay ng mga feedback sa mga semi-finalists sa July. At gaganapin naman ang pagbibigay parangal sa ating outstanding government workers sa September. Para sa iba pang detalye, bisitahin lamang ang CSC website o makipag-ugnayan sa Honor Awards Program Secretariat. Bigyang pugay ang Pilipinong manggagawa dahil ang bawat kawani ay lingkod bayani.
Ang pinaka-importante po sa akin bilang mamamahayag is to shine the light on important issues para higit silang maintindihan. More than the rhetoric over and above the debate, ang pag-uusap po natin ay magbubunga ng mga idea at solusyon. At yung mga solusyon na yan ang maaring maging basihan para sa konkretong aksyon. Ayan mga kaibigan, halina po kayo at pag-usapan natin.
Tutukan tuwing Lunes at Huwebes alas 8 ng gabi. Dito lang sa PTV.
The country's dry season as the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration or PAGASA has officially declared the end of the northeast monsoon, giving way to hotter weather. PAGASA says that the public should expect warmer temperatures and higher humidity, particularly in central and eastern Luzon. While this year's heat may not be as intense as last year's, temperatures could still reach 52 degrees Celsius. Meanwhile, Pag-asa says that a low-pressure area or LPA that was spotted in 315 kilometers east of Tagum City, Davao del Norte, is unlikely to develop into a typhoon. While it is not expected to intensify into a storm at this time, it could still bring cloudy skies with scattered rains and thunderstorms over Visayas, Caraga, and Davao region. Meanwhile, Metro Manila and the rest of the country will experience partly cloudy to cloudy skies with isolated rain showers or thunderstorms caused by the easterlies. And that concludes our rundown of the latest, widest, and most comprehensive news and information from all across the nation. This is your trusted news source, always ready to inform and serve the Filipino people. Catch Balitang Pambansa again tomorrow at 7 a.m., 12 noon, 6 p.m., and 9:30 p.m. for more updates and developments. From Radyo Pilipinas, I'm Princess Habiba Saripao Dak, and this is your Balitang Pambansa.